What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Reckless here once again, back in the Bay Area, back to doing car interviews. You know what I'm saying? I've been wanting to do them again. The Zooms are cool, but nothing like the car. Alright, so today I got a really cool interview for y'all. I got a good homie I've known for a cool while, and coming straight out of Hayward, California. I get to give out to Summer Blanco.
What up, what up?
So introduce yourself. So what's your guys' rap names? So people know.
Well, we formed a group. We got, first album out, just came out last week. Well, I don't know when it's gonna come out, but August 27th came out. It's called 97 Demo. It's our first album as a group. And yeah, what you want to say?
Yeah, my name is Blaze Avenue. Yeah, first time being together in a group, any kind of group really. Really excited for you guys to hear the album, and hope to hear what you guys think about it.
Good shit. And so tell us, how did you guys start individually? Whoever wants to start first, tell us how you got into music.
Into music?
Yeah, you can start.
Yeah, I can start. It started off, honestly, just I used to walk to this guy's house. I've known this guy since like fucking first grade, right? Known him all my life. So like, I used to walk over to his place. It's like maybe 15-20 minute walk. And I had like an iPhone like 2, whatever, like earliest iPhone.
Shit, okay.
And we were still in high school, and like I just like write like little freestyle, if you want to call them that, right? Because they're written, but they were funny. Like they were meant like I was either like talking shit about him or like our other homie or like whatever, right?
Okay.
And when I get to his place, I just be like, all right, look, there's some shit I wrote, and like yeah, we just like laugh about it or whatever. That's kind of like how I got started. Then like I was really into poetry, so I did like a lot of spoken word. And my first track like ever actually was a spoken word track. It's called The Problem on my OGs. Probably just you know what that is. Yeah.
Well, now they will know.
Yeah, now they'll know. Now they'll know. SoundCloud days. But that's really how I got my start, and like just kind of like remixing like other people's shit, right? So like, music, but like as parodies. Like I started out just straight doing comedy. Yeah, that's how I really just started, and then put out the spoken word. I put out The Problem, and then like people were just fucking with it tough. So I was like, for sure. So I just put it on the beat. Well, everything after that on the beat. Obviously, there were other people's beats. So that's just kind of how I got started and kind of gained my traction like that. Started really like taking it a little more serious in college. I was in film school, but I couldn't afford none of the equipment. So I was just like, fuck, like I'm in like in this really creative space and I had nothing to create, right? So like I just started just rapping and like fuck it, and that's how I started going on.
Cool. Do you ever consider being a parody rapper, like fully like the Weird Al Yankovics of the world? That's
how it started. Like that's what like was like my thing. It was like, okay, cool. Like I remember like one song I wrote was like that song Somebody's Watching Me or some shit, and like, I always feel like I put like Somebody's Touching Me. It was like it wouldn't fly in 2021 at all.
No.
A lot of my old shit wouldn't fly in 2021 at all. But yeah, what about you? How you start?
Yeah, how did you start?
So this is probably my sophomore year. Me and my homeboy Devontae. I would go to over his house. He lived in Newark, I believe, and it's kind of a weird way how I got into it, but I used to do poetry as well, But me and him had a cool little quick fascination with you ever hear the group Mindless Behavior? It's like it was a kid group that was kind of being set up to be like a new at that time like a new big boy band kind of thing, but they were doing rap and shit like that.
Okay, no, never heard of them.
We got instrumental, and we were like, yo, let's do it 2 verses, and there was four of them. And we just played off that. Never got released and shit like that, but from there on it went to like we'd hear a new release from an artist that we like, specifically like Mac Miller or Wiz Khalifa.
Okay, rest in peace.
Yeah. Yeah, that shit fucked me up when he passed away.
Fucked a lot of us up.
Yeah. But when he, like, for instance, like he had that track Loud, and we would get the instrumental, ASAP Rocky, get the instrumentals, and then what I would like to do is, how the fuck do you write something like this? Like, where are they getting all these thoughts from? And so I would write down all their lyrics, and then I would slowly be like, okay, for this line they said this. What words can I replace it with that? Different words with saying the same shit, and eventually it evolved to, okay, on this topic, what would I want to say or give my input on this, and slowly graduated that. It took me a few years to want to even. I didn't even know how to record. Like it was maybe 4 or 5 years till I went out and got myself a mic and started recording inside my car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, after work and shit like that, or on the weekends. And I used to hang it from the visor and then have the interface, like say on the deck of the car. And yeah, just do that for some years. And then after a while, I was like, it was a hard thing to grasp, where I was like, I don't know if I can do all this on my own, so I'm gonna have to outsource some things. I have to put my trust into some other people. And so I went and got an engineer that I was comfortable with, and then from there on, it was just kind of building off that.
Okay, that's cool, man. I like how you dissect a lot of people's music. That's how I used to do it too, just like seeing like how they would place things where the bars go, and then from there like make your own style out of it.
Yeah, because that's like what I would do too, was like I'd like print out the lyrics, right? Because I remember I did a remix of Nothing on You by B.O.B. I printed out his lyrics and I just changed the words, but I remember like I kept the same like amount of syllables and shit. So that's how I would learn how to count syllables and like how to flow. Obviously I was using his flow at first, and then like I kind of like move away from it. But yeah, recording the car, the struggle was real, dude. My first mic, I used to have that game, Guitar Hero World Tour.
Oh shit!
It came with like the drums and all that shit. And I used that mic, and I put like a sock around it as a pop filter, and that's what we did.
That's what you gotta do to get started, you know. How'd you guys settle on your names for rap? Like we just decided, like, okay, this is what I'm gonna be known as.
Well, my first rap name was Stud Muffin. You can laugh, because I mean, like it kind of like, so like I came up with the name because I had a shirt that fucking said Stud Muffin on it, and like people would just call me that because I think they were making fun of me, to be honest. But I mean, like,
probably
whatever. But I was like, whatever. Like, I thought that shit was cool, right? Because I didn't give a fuck like back then. Like I was just me. Like I was just like,
it's a good attitude to have.
Yeah, I was just me. Like you would always catch me, even nowadays, dude. You catch me like in a graphic tee, some shorts. Like that's just what I fucking wear.
I mean, you're basically right now.
That's basically what I'm doing now. Yeah, right. Like my style has never changed. And like I like that name too, because like I knew like it was a joke to everybody, and like rap was kind of like a joke to me, especially like at first, and I didn't want to be taken serious. I was just like, my whole thing was, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna gas y'all at something that y'all take serious, and I'm gonna fuck around, and I'm still gonna gas you in your own craft. It's like what I was trying to do. And yeah, and I kept that name for a long time. It wasn't until like I was like in my 20s, I'm like, all right, I think I should change my name. And I dropped my album, Things Fall Apart was the first one. I just used my real name now. Okay. So yeah, and I got that idea from this dude was making me sign fucking petitions in college, and he asked me for my name. I was like, oh, Joel Franco. He goes, hey, do you rap? I was like, yeah. I'm thinking this guy's a fucking fan. Right? He was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. He goes, yeah. Is that you go with that name? I was like, no, I go by Stud Muffin. He goes, oh shit, you got a cool name, like you should just use your name. I'm like, all right, for sure. So yeah, I did it.
You saved your rap career.
He did. I 100% think he did.
Yeah, how'd you decide to land on your name?
So for Blaze Avenue, I went through a few name changes.
Okay,
I went through,
let's go through them.
So one of them, very brief, never on a song. I went, for some reason, I was trying to find something unique. I went with Page, right?
Page? Yeah, like P-A-G-E or P-A-I-G-E?
P-A-G-E.
Oh, okay.
It was hella dumb. But until I found out another rapper.
I mean, at least it wasn't Stud Muffin.
Yeah. Until I found another rapper who had that name. He was on a big song, but he never got nowhere, I believe. And so I was like, fuck, dude, someone's already taken it. I don't want that kind of stigma weighing on me for that name. So I went then with my middle name, which is Emiliano, and I shortened it down to Emil. E-M-I-L. And it kind of got joked because it's like email and fucking. It was cool. It wasn't bad. It was just, it just didn't feel right. I went with Blaze Avenue because the name Avenue always stuck out to me. I didn't know in what way. Mr. Avenue, Avenue, something like that. And then I never listened to this artist, but I knew he was a thing. Troy Avenue.
Oh, I know Troy Ave. Yeah. Troy Ave was hard. Yeah.
I was really big into Dumbfounded's Hotbox back in the early YouTube days, where he would interview artists around LA and shit like that.
Oh, cool.
And so, and I did a little bit of smoking, but it was never like nothing as serious. And so he was hotboxing. I just put Blaze in front of Avenue, Blaze Avenue, and then yeah, that's kind of where I got from that.
Okay, cool. And what was your main goals getting into music? Like, what was the main like objective you were trying to do?
For me, I was just bitches break my heart. So it's like,
don't they all?
That's like what it was, honestly. Like when I wasn't doing joke tracks, like I was doing like sad boy shit. Like my whole entire first mixtape was about like that, like relationship, like heartbreak and shit like that. So that was it. Like, and honestly, like I said before, like I just wanted to express myself because I was in like film school, but like I didn't have the means to, you know, do anything. And it was like the way that school was set up, it was like you had to have like a certain standing, like what year you were, what department you were in, to be able to rent their shit. But then like me as like an underclassman, like I didn't have no seniority over nobody, so I was never able to rent anything. So I'm like, fuck. So that means music was just the way to go. Like I would have made some sad film type shit if I could have. Right?
That would be cool. It's not too late.
It's not.
What did I do, bro?
Because he knows my struggle between like, okay, do I stick with the music? Do I move to that side? Like,
you know, you ever thought of multitasking? People do that. I mean, I do this interviews on YouTube. I rap and I do other stuff on the side. So
well, like earlier on, like I would do that. Like I drop an album and then like I'd spend some time like making YouTube videos and like, you know, writing films and shit, and then like do that and then go back, make another album. Like I would like alternate. I can't, like I have to fully involve myself in one thing to make sure that I'm giving like the best thing that I can give you. Because if my mind's all over the place, like that's just the way like I'm built. Like I have to just do one thing at a time, because I'd rather like invest all my time in that one thing and make sure that shit is dope and that shit was worth the wait, than if I'm like constantly giving you shit and it's just like subpar. It's like, hey, that was cool, and then you forget about it, you know. That's just like my mindset.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the healthiest mindset, but I mean, it's what works for me.
Okay, for sure. And what about you? What was your goals when you decided to get into music?
So on a serious note, I don't know how serious you want to be, but like,
oh, we're getting serious. We're into the nitty gritty of everything. You know, this is why I'm here.
So on a serious note, I dealt with depression and suicidal tendencies.
Okay.
And so it was always my main goal to leave something behind in terms of my thoughts, because I couldn't necessarily speak my mind in the right way that I wanted to. I couldn't adequately put the right words together. And so me writing, it felt like, okay, I have some time to build what I want to say and deliver it the way I want to say it, with the tone I want to say it, around with this beat that sounds beautiful or like melodic or intense, and which gives out, you know, emotion. And so that was my main thing, because I didn't know how long I was going to be around for. And so a little bit of it was like, okay, cool, maybe some fame, some money, later on I would understand what would come with fame, and it wasn't my main intention, but like I was like, okay, it's not a thing to really want to strive for. And in terms, I want to build more of a career and be more lasting. I'd rather get like, because I have a really good work ethic that I'm really proud of when people talk about me. And so like applied that to the rap scene. I would like, when I'm around, people be like, yo, this guy, he does his shit, you know, he's gets in, gets out, he'll help others try to achieve that same goal. And so I think that's kind of just where I want at this point, to be financially stable, of course, just to take care of that day-to-day kind of problems and shit, but to be like appreciated by my peers type of thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And when you were first writing music, we're trying to, you know, talk about anything personal on a beautiful beat. Do you find it hard at the beginning? Because you're like, it's hard to express yourself in general, especially if you're going through that depression. You don't want to talk to nobody, and you have to like write those thoughts on paper and put it on wax. Like, how was that process?
It's so I never write. It's kind of a weird thing. I never write something when I'm feeling hella emotional, because on a personal note, just me, like I can never truly say what I want to say when I'm emotional involved in something. I have to wait, let it settle within my head and my body, and then pick the right way I want to go about it, because a lot of times if I act on emotion, I could fuck things up in terms of like, okay, I wasn't thinking about the other perspective, and I want to make sure when I deliver exactly what I want to say, that the perspective, I'm involving other people's perspective in my writing, and make sure that like I'm not missing something in terms of like, well, you didn't think about this, that you could have done this. I just want to make sure I'm overall well-rounded in terms of my writing.
Yeah, so you're looking back, you can see things, but don't you ever feel like sometimes there's certain emotions and thoughts that you could only think while you're in that state that you can't really like remember while you know, looking back in retrospect?
Part of me does, but at the same time, I've had multiple thoughts come back to me in a more sophisticated way, and I also take a bunch of recordings and hella notes on my phone.
Smart thing.
So I've like collected like hundreds of notes in many phones, have hella recordings just of like a 10 to 20 second thing, like, hey, this is my perspective at this time, this is what caused me to think that way, just so I can have a receipt of like what inspired me to come up with something like that, in case like an interview I could say, you know, that's why I did that and all that, and this is what made me think of this. Yeah.
No, good shit, man. That's a good way to have it. I do that with my notes all the time. Just keep shit just in case. Little melodies, little notes, little punchline. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It helps you out for later writing. Yeah, so now talk to me about the music scene out here in Hayward. You know what I'm saying? The Haystack. You know what I'm saying? Like, how was it like growing up in this scene?
Man, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's just kind of like unfortunate, like you heard them one, you heard them all type of thing, with the exception obviously of a few. So like I remember like one dude that I looked up to a lot in high school. He was like, I think a senior when I was a freshman or some shit like that. He's a Big Turo. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Who?
Big Turo? No. Yeah, he's like pretty, I think he's probably the biggest dude around here right now. And yeah, I just thought it was so dope. Like one of the first like weeks of school that we had a rally, and then this motherfucker was over here performing in front of the whole school. And like, you know, he actually went to the school, but everybody was just like fucking with him like tough, and I was like, damn, that's so dope. Like, because back then, like my dream, I don't know why the fuck, I really wanted to be like a really famous YouTuber. Like that was my goal. Like I'm like, I wanted to be like Ryan Higa, like straight up. That's who I wanted to be. And like he kind of gave me like a taste of that. I was like, damn, like I want to be this guy that people champion too, like around here. But yeah, then he graduated, and then I mean, I wasn't so in tune with like the music scene when I was younger around here. But I just know it's just like a bunch of like Norte raps and shit like that. Like, yeah. And it was just like, I mean, it's not really my fucking taste, you know. Like I've never been about that life, never will be. So it's just like, that's why, like to me, like why you hear one, you hear them all, like all that, like this Latin and shit. Like I mean, shout outs to doing your thing. They post numbers, you know.
Yeah, shout out Gold Toes.
Yeah, Gold Toes is another one. Yeah, they post numbers. It's just not my thing. But I mean, hey, that's kind of like my goal though, right? Is like I really want to just stand the fuck out, because especially this album just sounds so different than anything that's coming out from right here. So that's like my goal too, and like that's another reason why it's just like, hey, I'm kind of just like pushed aside, because like I'm like the darkest light skinned dude, like in all honesty, like in shit that I rap about, like so I don't really fit in. But I mean, the scene, there's a lot of fucking pushes though, for sure. Like people are real passionate, and I mean, you gotta show love whether you fuck with them or not. Like you gotta respect the hustle. For sure.
Did you guys ever get influenced at all by the hyphy movement when that shit was going on? Or did you go be one of those guys like, no, that ain't hip hop, you know, real music, Hove? Oh shit.
Nah, dude, I love that shit.
Me too. I hated people who hated on it.
But you know what though? Like, I mean, if you weren't here, then I mean, you really got no business.
They missed out.
Yeah.
First of all, you guys missed out if you weren't here during the hyphy movement back in those days, because that was the dopest movement we had out here for a good ass minute.
Yeah, dude, like it was so fucking unique. Like the shit that they say, like their beats, the beat choices, like their flows, like everything was just so unconventional. It was just dope. Yeah, I miss those times, man. Middle school days, for sure. Yeah,
straight up. Now, look at my notes, like a talk show host. What do you guys think that listeners get from you guys' music, or what do you hope to get?
What do I hope? I hope they just vibe the fuck out. Like, I just hope they have a good time, man. Like, that's all I'm here for. Like, I feel like I made it pretty obvious since day one. Like, I'm not trying to be the best. I'm not trying to be like top 5 lyricists, you know?
Yeah.
Because that ain't me. I just want you to have a good ass time when you listen to me. You know, and that's like kind of like why I don't really rap a lot about like politics or like shit going on, because like I want to be your escape from all that. I want you to come and chill with me, you know. That's mainly my goal, honestly, is, you know, I don't smoke, but I mean, I want you to smoke to my shit, you know. You know, sip a little something to my shit, you know, play it at a barbecue, at a kickback. I make music that I like to listen to, so that's really just me.
Cool. And what about you? What was your goals getting into music? I mean, goals. What am I talking about? What was the? What do you think listeners get from your music, or what do you hope that they get?
I hope that they just think what I have to say is interesting. I'm more on a lyrical side rather than I think I'm in this weird gray area where like I can make something sound good and also bring lyrics. But I just hope that I'm in the future considered someone that could, I guess, for the next generation be like, oh, his style is similar to him, or like bring some nuance to something that's into topics that have already been talked about, but break it down a little bit more so it's something that you can dive even more deeper into, and what exactly it'll make you kind of act around certain, like how it'll make you act around certain things like that. Just kind of break it down more and be more susceptible to the casual listener. Not so like heavy lyrical. Well, I eventually do, but like not heavy lyrical to where like
time and place for those.
Yeah. I feel like I don't want to outcast anyone, but like I'm playing a hella deeper meanings, and you have to listen to this song to understand it. I don't want to do all that necessarily. Just like I don't want to be bland either.
Okay. You know? Trying to find a good balance between all that stuff, right?
Yeah. Just something, a legacy to where what I had to say was meaningful, and then it wasn't something that was already treaded on.
Straight up. Talk to us about your first projects as individuals. Like, you can start first. Like, how was it like making your first project, and what was the name of that project?
The first project was called Staying Home. It was a mixtape that I made on SoundCloud with multiple beats from different artists. This is the era where more of like you would use popular songs, but you would just take the instrumental and then combine it with other songs and try to make your own playlist, basically. So it was a lot of that. It was kind of using similar hooks, but not the same words, just a kind of flow that was similar. And man, that mixtape, overall it took about 5 years, because I wrote down maybe 20 some songs, and like on 3 different occasions my phone would get fucked up with water.
Water?
Yeah.
Explain that. Explain that.
Moses.
I forget how the first time it happened. For the second time I was in Hawaii, and I went into the ocean because we just got there and everyone just hopped into the ocean, and I had my phone in my swim trunks. I was fucking heated. Like that end of the trip just kind of fucked me up. Second time, the third time, it was my 21st, and I had a hotel party with homeboy here was in it. I had wet my phone lightly, but I was drunk, and so my stupid ass thought, here, I dropped in the toilet, clean toilet, but I dropped in the toilet, and I washed off thinking, okay, let me just wash this shit off.
You ran into some more water.
Yeah. It was so dope.
You're drunk.
Yeah.
It's all good.
At this point I had like maybe 12 or some songs, and I was like, maybe 2 years had gone, and I was like, I need to put out something, otherwise I will never put out anything.
Yeah.
And it's not like I didn't give a shit about that first mixtape, it's just that it was a lot of shit that happened before it, and I just needed to put something out just so I can tell myself and feel like, okay, I'm on the right track, rather than just being all about talk. You know, and over the time it had gotten better. My writing had gotten better because, you know, just different beats I got that wasn't really fucking with my flow and shit like that. But overall, I think it was a nice combination of songs that was an early start or indication that I had something unique to say, rather.
Cool. And what was the inspiration behind the name of the project?
So staying home, the cover I had my homeboy Devontae make it. It was drawn. It's a giant ass flat screen with the kid sitting in front of it. Because at that time, my whole growing up experience was just staying home. I couldn't have anyone over the house. I couldn't be outside for too long. I didn't even listen to hip hop until maybe 2007, 2008. Because hip hop wasn't allowed in my house.
Was it like a Christian home or like?
No, it was just some fucked up way. Like my brother's father felt some type of way about hearing that music. Never got really too deep into it, but it's some shady way he felt about that shit. And so I grew up with a lot of punk and like I guess emo, like like My Chemical Romance, Green Day, all that shit. So that. It's cool I grew up with that, but unfortunately I didn't grow up with like all hearing classic hip hop like that. And so basically that staying home, overall it was that feeling of being forced to be stuck in a place that shouldn't have felt like a prison kind of thing. I was like, I'm forced to stay home. This is how all my thoughts building up and inside of me, and then I have to just release it type of shit. And so that's kind of main inspiration for that.
Cool. And how was making veranda music?
Veranda music?
Yeah, was that your first one?
That was my fifth one.
Fifth one, okay.
Yeah.
Cause when I was researching, that's the first one that comes up as your first project.
Oh, and on Apple Music?
Title.
Oh, Title, yeah. It's the earliest one that I was able to put on because it had no remixes on it. Like no
okay. He was in
other
like
people's shit, yeah. My first mixtape was 2012. It was in it's called Nostalgia. And yeah, that's like the only one of my projects I'll never listen to.
The best one.
Fuck
Best
you.
one. Hold on, explain this dynamic going on here.
He knows that shit like triggers me.
Was it like hella trash?
So no,
yeah, it's pretty trash.
It's trash, but at the moment it felt like the best shit ever. Like
at the time, yeah.
I helped homeboy create I did a lot of his early covers, like photographing and photoshopping and shit. And I don't know, it was just over that era, that time in our lives, it was just like a cool thing to do.
Yeah, at the time, I mean, people seem to like it, but I don't know. Like listening to it now, like my flow was like non-existent. The quality was fucking awful because it was just on a Guitar Hero mic. I didn't know shit about mixing or nothing, so I just recorded, put the over the beat, saved as MP3, and that was the song. Like I didn't do shit to it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was just all on GarageBand. Right? I didn't do shit to it. I've never worked with like an actual audio engineer until this 97 demo. Like I've just always done my own shit, and that's why my shit don't sound that good. But
hating your own shit. No one listen to the shit.
No, I mean like I'm just being real about
only
it.
Listen to the new one,
yeah,
guys.
listen to the new one for sure. Well, no, so I mean like I don't know. I mean it has like a lot of like meaning and feeling behind it, just because like all those emotions, all those feelings like were real, and like they were at the time that I wrote it, like that's what was happening. Like I did that mixtape hella fast. So for what it's worth, like for what it means and shit, like yeah, it was a pretty good time and shit. And it really kind of exposed me. Up until that point, I mean I never really gotten criticism for nobody because I had no reason to. That was like really the first time that I put my shit out there, and I was just tweeting random ass people like on Twitter, like, hey, I guess new album shit, I mean, there's a mixtape and check it out. And like other people were like, shut the fuck up. They're like, like
I know the people when they send me, hey, don't my DM, hey, the new album, check out my new track, I'm trying my new artist. I just ghost them. I don't listen to any of those. Even if they're my friends, like, hey man, check out this new shit, send it to my email. What are you sending to my DM for?
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, I got a lot of people talking like mad shit on Twitter from them, but that's what Twitter's for, right? It's its own fucking world.
You never find a more wretched hide of scum and villainy on there.
Yeah, for real. So I mean, like at the time though, yeah, I was pretty proud of it. Like I thought I did my thing, and it just fueled me to do more. Because people were like, I think like, and people were careful about when they said it was good, like why it was good. Like people were like, oh, this is some real shit. I'm like, all right, cool. And then yeah, you just get better, man. Like that's your bottom. You just go up.
Good shit. And talk to me about how you guys started the group. Give me the history lesson of how did Summer Blanco come to be.
Man, we've always been working since the beginning of our careers. Like we just always be working together. Like he's on that Nostalgia tape. I'm not on Staying Home, huh?
No.
Damn.
Nobody was staying home.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like fuck you. Teaching my music.
Yeah, I was on his second shit, but he's like been on almost all my projects, like almost every single one.
Oh, okay.
That's all his names except Paige. I wouldn't put that shit on my phone.
Yeah, I'm on different names. On this
Yeah,
you should use some of those old names just to fuck with him later on.
No, fuck that. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like we always like make good music together. Like, we've known each other all our lives, so it's just like the chemistry is always gonna be there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not obviously not shy in front of him, so it's like I'm cool like with rehearsing and all that shit. Like, yeah, I just with him and our other homie Devontae, like every time we make a song, it's guaranteed it's just gonna be good, right? I remember like I brought it up to him like a couple years back, like, hey, we should do like a joint project. Yeah. It just never happened. And then again, hey, we should do a joint project. Yeah, sure. It just never happened. And then like I've been trying to do this 90s theme project for fucking years, since after I dropped Muffin Man 3. I was like, what, 2015? I've been trying to do like, but for whatever reason, like the universe just kept giving me other ideas and I'd pursue those. I'm like, okay, I'll get to this 90s shit, because I was very particular about how I wanted it to sound. I don't know why it worked this time, but like we finally linked up and we're like, all right, let's do it. I was like, you know, I do got this idea. It's a 90s theme. First we started off with like, we're just gonna do G-Funk, like that's it. And I don't know, that didn't last very long.
No.
Because we're like, it's gonna get boring. Like, you just stick to one sound the entire time. So then we kind of did like, all right, well, let's throw a little bit of East Coast flavor into it. Let's throw a little bit of like, obviously still keep the G-Funk. Let's throw a little bit of LA type of sound into it. You know, let's do the whole fucking 90s inspired type shit. And then it just kind of worked itself out organically, thankfully for once.
Cool.
Yeah.
And how'd you get settled on the name?
I have no fucking clue.
I've told him over time why I thought this name would fit.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I had 3 different names. I don't have them with me right now, but basically it was Summer Blanco was one of the choices.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately, during that time, when he had asked me to make this album or like do a project like this, first time I was like, yeah, but wasn't really trying to pursue it, because I was just feeling some type of way. I didn't have a job at the time, and I was just coming back around Hayward, and I fucking it wasn't until a few months later I didn't feel like writing shit, and I feel like had nothing to say, and so I didn't feel like of use when it came to something like this. And plus, this is far beyond what I had showed what my style was and what I can deliver flow wise and all that. So this is really like untreaded territory. And so when he asked me the second time or third time, I was like, cool, let's do this. I'll build off of whatever you want to do. And he suggested a 90s theme. I was like, dope, cool. So basically he got the skeleton made for what the project was want to be, and all I did was just build off the top of that, molded it into what we have now. And so with Summer Blanco, like I said, at that time I wasn't feeling like myself. I was feeling like shit. I was into like, I was chasing like trying to do, I wasn't a big in this, but like cocaine, right? Okay. Blanco, white, obviously it's not a big stretch. But then as building this process, I started to feel better. And so unfortunately, it's unfortunate, but it's whatever. It shows growth. The name Blanco was just a way of Easter egging like the Blanco and shit like that. Summer, I wanted something that both encapsulated us. He had a unique fascination with summer, like wanting to stay in that unique time period, those 2-3 months every year,
random music,
that
baby.
sound and that vibe and shit like that. And so I wanted to incorporate that Summer Blanco, and I thought it sounded really unique. And plus also another way to say Summer Blanco is a dope summer. And so it's just a nice little grab, some shit like that. Yeah.
So it's like a subtle way of saying a dope summer. Okay.
Its origins kind of like sketchy, at least on my side. But at the same time, I felt like that's just who I was at that point.
Yeah, it's a good origin, good origin right there, I want to dissect this group real quick. So between you two and the duo, like, what would you say your guys' style is?
Fuck. Kind of, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of all over the place, right? Because we didn't shy away from any beat that we thought was dope. We weren't really chasing one specific sound, and it was really, really, really important to us that this album didn't sound like it was emulating the 90s, because that's corny and it's not gonna age well, right?
No.
So like we wanted to, okay, let's take some 90s sounding beats. That's why we're careful when we say it's 90s inspired, right? Because the quality of the songs is not what it was in the 90s, right? We give you high quality music. The skits, we put a little effect on it so it sounds a little grainy and shit. Our subject matter doesn't really have much to do with the 90s. I mean, we'll throw in like references every now and then, and we were also careful not to reference anything modern, just for the sake of trying to keep it in theme. But basically anything that we thought was dope that sounded kind of old school, we threw it on there. I mean, that's why like we open with like 2-3 G-Funk songs, and then we have like, well, we open with 2 G-Funk songs, and we have like a 90s, like a Belle Biv DeVoe type of shit, and then we go into like an East Coast type of songs, you know. So it's like, I don't know, like it's wild. Like the pacing is wild, but we just adapted to it. And I feel like, I mean, you want to talk about versatility, I mean, that's all over the fucking place. So like style wise, I mean, we just honestly, like, I'm not trying to like, you know, toot my own horn, but like we just gassed. Like honestly, like for real. I mean, especially him, like how he was saying, like this is not what he puts out. He puts out some dark shit. Like I mean, like,
yeah,
you know, like
it sucks when I'm trying to like show people my music. I'm like, I don't know if you fuck with it. Not like crazy dark shit, but it's just like,
it's not like on some Immortal Technique Dance to the Devil shit, right?
No. Hell no, dude.
Okay.
Alright. It's just more like it's me being blunt and talking about my I guess mental health and shit like that.
Yeah, people relate to it nowadays. So that's a good ass, like, you know, style pocket to be in, you know? Like style, like we just kind of feed off of each other. Like he goes first in some songs, I take the energy, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give it back twice as much, or I'll go first, and he's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna give it back, but let's do it in a different way, you know. And it's just like, it's just like you can see like kind of like we're going back and forth a little bit. And
I think he something I noticed while overdoing this, trying to put songs together, I think I had asked him to do more like on G-Funk to go first. Because my voice is hella raspy, and it's like it could be a little harsh to start something off like that, and those kind of beats. And so I think he really flows well with that G-Funk and those like California type shit. Whereas mine, you can kind of see the way what I'm talking about, the more New York, East Coast type of beats, the harsher type of like drums and all that shit. I feel like I could start off easier going first on those type of beats, because like I'll go straight into a serious subject matter, and whereas the other ones, it's kind of difficult for me to try to act all like smooth, like, and try to like bring a stylistic form to it. So I think he really shines on those G-Funks, and like the hooks are crazy. That guy, like the engineer, he fucking made him crazy on those hooks, man.
Dope. And what inspired this team to be a 21 track project? You know, you guys trying to be like Ye and Drizzy now, or what's going on?
Man, first of all, I mean, I'm not really a big fan of long projects, which is funny as fuck because all my projects are long. So the Random Music's not that long.
That's 9 tracks.
Yeah, that one's not that long. I don't know. I mean, it's just all the songs were good. I mean, like we did trim a couple. We had to get rid of a couple, and some, I mean, just for like the sake of features didn't come through, so that had to be booted. Samples type shit that had to be booted.
I think majority of it had to do with the skits and the story.
The skits definitely inflated it, but I'm cool with it because length is still under an hour, you know, because
songs are hella short.
Yeah, the songs are pretty short, and the skits are like really short. The skits are really just like little Easter egg type of shit. Like there's a couple skits are only a couple seconds long, so like that's why the track list, I mean, it looks kind of daunting at first, and then like you look at how long it is, you're like, oh, it's not that long, you know. But I mean, I feel like the pacing was good. It doesn't feel like it's an hour long, at least to me it doesn't, so that's pretty good. But yeah, I noticed one big ass problem, man. This whole interview is just bagging on myself, but one big problem like with my shit is I'm really bad at trimming the fat. So it's just like there's a lot of songs that hella shouldn't be on there that are, but that's not the case here. I mean, luckily I also being two people, it helped a lot too, because it's like he could be hella feeling something, and I'd be like, nah, and it'd be the other way around too. So it's like, all right, well, we since we both got to agree, like we got to make some cuts here. Yeah. So that also really helped.
That's good. So, anything else you want to add to the people out there at all?
I just want to give a shout out to everybody who's involved in making the project. Shout out my cousin Isaac for lending his voice on the skits. Shout out his girl Stacy for lending her voice out on the skits, and also just being super fucking supportive. She's been like going crazy with the shares. She's making TikToks with our sounds, and yeah, it's just dope. She's going really hard, and she killed it too for her first time acting. Shout out my boy Josh Wilson for coming in literally the last second when the feature we were supposed to have on tabletop just ghosted us. So we're like, you're in. Can you rap? He's like, no, we'll work on it. So then he came in, did his thing. Shout out my cousin Nano, aka AP Psycho, again, first his debut on all streaming. Absolutely killed it. Killed his 2 features. Shout out John D for giving me that verse back in just a couple hours. That was fucking dope. Nice.
Shout out Meats.
Yeah, shout out Meats. Man, you set the tone for that first track, that 90s fuck is it called? KDSD. It was dope. She came in, did this shit in like 2 takes, dipped, and it was like fucking dope. And shout out to everybody who catted, because we got someone better. So yeah, man. Shout out to
maybe trying to make enemies.
Bro, fuck this rap, bro. Rap at me. Don't talk to me. Yeah, man. And shout out to, I mean, even though you kind of set us back a little bit, shout out Dream King Studios. I mean, he was the engineer we were working with for a long time, for almost the entire album. Really helped kind of shape the sound and kind of tune in, like, fine tune our shit. The
hooks and all that, he made that shit crazy.
It's
hella good.
Just unfortunately he started just kind of catting out on us, so delayed the album a month.
Oh man.
But
shout out to you though.
But shout out to you for what you did do. Any other shout outs you got? I'm sure I missed. Oh, shout out Rula too for stepping in with the mixing and mastering last minute too, to pick up this guy's slack. Anything else?
No, bro.
No, that's it, man. Shout out to me for making a fucking reference track for the intro. I'm burning all my bridges, bro. Another feature. I did a reference track for the was it KD? Yeah, it was KDSD. The hook. I wasn't supposed to be on it.
Oh, okay.
It was I wrote the hook and we recorded it. Dude ended up auto-tuning it and was like, oh, this song's pretty good, right? We sent it to a guy who actually can sing. He gave us back some dog shit, and so we're like, all right, fuck it. I'll just be on the thing. And I mean, that's like the signature sound, man. That's the first thing you hear, so
Jesus Christ.
Shout out, bro.
Just thank you, everybody, man.
Thank you, everybody,
about this
man.
salty shit.
Right.
Hey, look at the bright side, bro. You know, I'm not burning any bridges.
Nah, bro. It's, I don't know, man. It's just, but you know what? Look, but it is a thank you though, because if it wasn't for them, things wouldn't have worked out the way they did. So it really is a thank you.
Yeah, it's called a backhanded compliment.
Exactly. So just take the compliment, and if you're mad, rap at me, bro. Like, let's do it.
All right. On that note, you know, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell up above and to get alerts from your phone so you can see when a new interview happens, just like this one. And shout out to the homies, Summer Blanco, for coming through for an interview.
Shout out Reckless. Finally got the interview, Rite of Passage of you, a Bay artist.
Ah, shit.
You ain't been interviewed by Reckless. I mean, just McDonald's probably hiring, bro, like that ass.
Or just hit me up, I'll give you an interview, you know what I'm saying? Let me know it's good, too, you know, when you're ready. Alright, yep, and make sure you look down the description below to check out where you can see their music at. There's SoundClouds, their all the streamings, everything, you know, plug everything, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, so with that, till the next interview, we out.